Bottle we just saw, it broke. You can hear the crack. All right, she getting out. She gets out of the car. She steps on it right there. Oh my goodness, she stepped on the glass right there. New evidence proves Tory Lanez got framed and set up by Megan Thee Stallion. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another reaction video. In this video, we are going to be reacting to Poetic Flacco, and I just read the title of his video. So he's going to break down how newfound evidence proves Tory Lanez innocence. Now, if you don't know what this is in reference to, this is in reference of the incident that happened between Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion about 5 years ago, where shots were fired and Tory Lanez eventually got locked up because Megan Thee Stallion said Tory Lanez shot her. Let's get into the video.
Tory Lanez's team just revealed bombshell information that will exonerate Tory Lanez and destroy and ruin Megan Thee Stallion's career and her credibility. And they laid everything out on a new website. Congresswoman Anna Paulina is the mastermind behind this new website to exonerate Tory Lanez. And it all stemmed from a tweet that she posted a week ago, where she says in 36 hours, we will be releasing new bombshell information that would exonerate Tory Lanez. It wasn't released within 36 hours, but instead they started a website coined after the term 36 hours later and released all the information on that website. A lot of people have questioned her motives, why a congresswoman, a Republican at that, wants to get involved in a Tory Lanez, Megan Thee Stallion hip-hop drama. But she just came out to say she's involved because she truly believes that Tory Lanez was railroaded by a corrupt democratic system. Tory's team did a great job at telling the full story and not just bombarding us with new information right away. One of the initial pieces in the first step, they pointed out information that contradicted the storyline that Tory Lanez told Megan Thee Stallion's dance bit and then fired 6 shots at her. They released footage of Megan Thee Stallion admitting that she stepped on glass, but not just that. In this interaction with the police, Megan Thee Stallion was very concerned about her going to jail and her being in trouble. Strange, a gunshot victim being really concerned about the police discovering something that could send her to jail doesn't make sense to me. And this isn't Megan Thee Stallion's first run-in with the law. Megan Thee Stallion has a long rap sheet, bro. Megan Thee Stallion has multiple mugshots out there. So Megan Thee Stallion understands the law. If you did nothing wrong and you are the gunshot victim, why would you be going to jail for getting shot?
What's that?
Do you think we're gonna go to jail?
I don't know. We're trying to figure it all out. As long as you guys cooperate with us and you guys tell us what happened, we'll go accordingly, okay? But if you guys are not telling us, if you guys are, then I don't think...
I really cannot go to jail.
Okay.
I cannot have that on my image.
Okay. So how did that happen to you?
Glass.
Glass? Where?
Now, to be fair, she did say she stepped on glass like a couple years ago. She said the reason why she's told the cops she stepped on glass was to protect Tory Lanez, because at the time, I guess, racial tension between blacks and whites and cops and blacks were really high. So she said she didn't want Tory to be another victim. So in all fairness, she did address what she told the cops years ago. So I don't think this is new information in terms of what she told the cops. So I don't know if that's like strong enough to move the needle, because that was already out in the ethos. I need some more compelling evidence, which I think this video is going to provide, because I've seen some of them. So let's not spoil the party yet. Let's get to it first. But I don't think this part is as strong because she's already addressed it before, and she told her reason why she said that initially. So I don't really know if this one's groundbreaking like that, but yeah.
Where we were coming from?
Hey, can we get a sheet for
I'm not from here, so I...
Okay.
That's the only place you got shot at? That's the only place you got shot?
I didn't get shot.
Oh, you didn't?
No, ma'am. I mean, no, sir.
She was also very concerned about her image and how this story would make her look. The storyline of getting super drunk at Kylie Jenner's house, trying to fight Kylie Jenner, fighting your best friend, fighting a man that night, being exposed for sleeping with the man that your best friend is doing a sneaky link with, that looks bad for you. That looks horrible. And then stepping on a glass because you're super intoxicated and you're just drunk looks horrible. But the storyline of this really angry man shot at you because you stood up for yourself, now that storyline looks wonderful for your career. So you could understand how that got concocted as soon as she picked up that phone and called Rock Nation about the quote unquote.
Again, with the Rock Nation conspiracies. That's interesting. I don't know how Rock Nation has a hand in everything, but if that's true, that's kind of wild. You know, you're putting a brother in jail for propelling your artist to new found fame, which is just evil. It's devious, dastardly. Whatever else synonym rhymes with that or goes with that. That's what it is.
Incident afterwards. I can almost tell you how that conversation went, bruh. Don't say nothing. Let's intervene. Let's try to get this all cleaned up. Because looking like a horrible drunk who was sleeping with your best friend's man looks crazy.
Yeah.
Now, the police didn't just take her word for it. The police did their investigation at the scene. And at the scene, they discovered enough evidence to show that Megan Thee Stallion stepped on glass, which is why when the police charged Tory Lanez initially, they only charged Tory Lanez for gun possession because they found a gun, I think, on the passenger side of the vehicle.
Shooting or anything? That's how we got dispatch.
Well, we have the gun here, and then we have other units. They're searching the house where it happened. So that's all we have so far.
So nothing happened in the vehicle.
No, we don't have any casings. No.
Okay, from what you've been told.
And then there's some cash over, looks like.
Was the person who got caught with the other people here that you have in handcuffs? Were they all together?
They were all together.
Yes, they were all in the same car.
Okay. And then, do we know how she got cut?
I believe when she stepped down, there's a glass.
She dropped a glass bottle, and then I think she stepped on it and cut herself, getting out of the vehicle.
Okay. So her friend didn't cut her.
Right.
Well.
Okay, so hold on. Okay, so we see a glass bottle right here. Now, is it cracked? Okay, I think this part, you can see it is cracked. You can see the puddle of liquid. You can see the puddle of liquid like right below the cracked part. And you can kind of see shards of glass over here. You can see the car over there. You can see the puddle, which means there was some liquor in that bottle. And you can see the glass breaks. You can see the blood right there. Okay, this is getting interesting. I wanted to know if there was actually footage of her stepping on glass rather than her just saying she stepped on glass because she wanted to protect Tory Lanez. Is there footage of her actively stepping on glass? That's the part I want to see. Okay, door opens. Oh, there it is. There it is. Did y'all see that? Let me rewind that. So, door opens right here. That's the bottle we just saw. It broke. You can hear the crack. All right, is she getting out? She gets out of the car. She steps on it right there. Oh my goodness. She stepped on the glass right there. Let me play it one more time. Gets out of the car. Right there. She steps on it. Right there. Did you guys hear the sound stepping on glass makes? That's it right there. So, she was telling the cops the truth. She wasn't trying to save Tory. She was telling the cops the truth that she actually stepped on glass. This is devious. So how are you going to say later on that, yo, I only told them I stepped on glass to protect you? No. You were not protecting Tory. You were telling them the truth. You stepped on glass. All this while I've just been believing that, yeah, she probably said she stepped on glass because, you know, she ain't really want Tory to get jammed up. But the footage clearly shows she did step on glass. Then, I think...
All right, move back to the sound of my voice. Keep your hands up.
Oh, so she steps on the glass.
Back to the sound of my voice. Move back.
And you see a limp. You see the limp right there. Because I remember seeing this part of the video years ago. I didn't see the beginning part of the video of her coming out of the car. I wonder why. But you can see that limp. She's walking back with a limp. which means it's due to her stepping on glass. So you see the limp. She's definitely in pain. She just stepped on glass.
Hey, stop. Move to the left.
Did she make it?
Keep moving.
It's right down the floor.
Okay. So again, close up. You see
Move
the.
back inside my voice. Move back inside my voice.
Move back.
Back.
That's her.
She cut herself.
The corruption here is crazy. The police officer literally watched her with her own eyes.
That's crazy.
Seen her in 4K with her own eyes, stepping on the bottle and then began to limp. She stepped on the bottle in front of the police officers. You just heard her say, oh man, she just stepped on the bottle and she cut her. So if they watched her step on the bottle, cut herself open, probably had some fragments go in the open wound because she's walking on literal glass at the time. How does this equate to Tory Lanez popped at her? Now, I do believe a gun was shot that night.
I do believe that too. A gun was shot because I know there was an eyewitness that said he heard a shot or saw it actually.
Don't get me wrong. A gun was indeed shot that night.
But it wasn't by Tory.
But I don't think that gun is what penetrated Megan Thee Stallion's skin.
Ma'am, do you think we're gonna go to jail?
What's that?
Do you think we're gonna go to jail?
What woman you know who just got shot is talking that calmly? Is that composed? Is that stoic?
Because I do believe she was kind of scared at that moment because she might have initiated the whole situation, the aggression. Because from what I recall, she was fighting her best friend and she was drunk, belligerent, and she started the fight. So if the rumors are true or the allegations are true that the best friend actually shot the gun, you can say she could claim self-defense and she would be the aggressor. Megan Thee Stallion would be the aggressor. So obviously now she's talking with the cops. She's saying, yo, are we going to go to jail? She doesn't want it to go any further so they don't find out the situation of what had just happened. That's just my 2 cents from this. I don't know. I could be wrong.
A gunshot victim? Is that composed, that stoic? It's kind of like somebody just sitting on the curb, man, like just waiting for the police to go away. Is that, come on, bro. Bro, anybody with a brain can look at this and say, bro, what are we doing here, bro? How do we go from this to somebody being in jail right now for 10 plus years? This is crazy.
Yeah,
and they even show the hospital footage where Megan Thee Stallion is telling the doctors, yeah, I stepped on glass, it's whatever.
And so what happened with you were just one ball stick on the glass. I really cut on my right foot. I just stepped on glass the other day. So you were already hurt when you got into her. And at that point, just your friends were running down from the hospital.
Pay attention to her saying, I stepped on glass the other day too. So she already had an open wound. And that would make sense when we get to the gun and the bullet fragments and other things involved in this case. But I stepped on glass the other day too. So hence when she stepped on glass tonight, it just re-aggravated the open wounds she already had. They provided the full timeline to expose the story that Megan Thee Stallion told of, I try to protect.
Let me see. Okay, so she posted about getting shot on the 15th of July. Then she tells the cops that was Tory the next day. Goes on Instagram Live on Tory's birthday. Publicly names Tory as the shooter. A month-ish after. Tory Lanez responds almost 2 months after her initial post. And he goes live like a month after. Okay. See.
Tory Lanez initially, but the only reason I'm saying he shot me now is because he spoke out first.
Oh, wait, hold on. This timeline says he spoke out only 2 months after. That's interesting. I believe what happened was she might have thought Tory was the one saying all these things when it was actually the fans cooking up all forms of conspiracy, like attacking her and all of that, and she just attributed all of that to Tory. So she just went out the woodworks and just said, yo, Tory, I'm going to put you on blast. You know, I was protecting you before, but now you're really wilding and I'm going to let you have it, even though it was false.
They provided a timeline to show that was an absolute lie. She did not say she stepped on glass initially to protect Tory Lanez, and she didn't change her minds because Tory Lanez spoke out first. That's a lie. So the timeline here goes. Megan posts about being shot on July 15, 2020. Megan names Tory Lanez to the police the following day, on July 16.
How in the day of you tell them you step on glass, then the next day you name Tory to the police, essentially telling the police that he shot you? I wonder if it's after you got some level of consultation by a certain conglomerate called Rock Nation. I don't know. Conspiracy hat on. It could be the case.
For 2020. Tory Lanez haven't gone public yet. July 27, Megan Thee Stallion goes live on Tory Lanez's birthday. Specifically, this was her first live. It goes on August 20th. Megan Thee Stallion publicly names Tory Lanez as the shooter, but she already named Tory Lanez as a shooter to the police already, okay? And she goes live on his birthday to taunt him. Continues. Daystar tweets for the first time. So this is when Tory Lanez first tweet to clear his name. Tory Lanez goes live October 20th. This is the first time Tory Lanez goes live to clear his name. So they like, hold on, bruh. If you told the police you like got shot, if you got shot like the day afterwards, and you only told them you stepped on glass to protect Tory Lanez, then one, why'd you tell the police you got shot the day after? And then why did you go public naming Tory Lanez when Tory Lanez hadn't spoken or done any press whatsoever?
Yeah, that's actually so conniving. So it's almost like gaslighting in a sense. You said, so she basically said the only reason she named Tory as the shooter and she finally came quote unquote clean was because Tory Lanez was agitating her and talking about her, making himself to look like the victim and basically moving some form of energy towards Megan. But she had already told the cops the day after. So Tory Lanez hadn't said anything, even if she claimed he said it like a month after or 2 days after. Nah, the day after the incident, you had already named Tory as the person who shot you to the cops. So all of that, yo, I'm only telling, you know, I was protecting you before, but you was wilding, so now I'm telling everybody you shot me, was gaslighting and was a lie. You had already done it before. You had already done it like a couple weeks prior. What are you talking about? Yo, this chick is like, dang, how? Yo, I don't know, man. This is sad.
Peep how Megan said in her statement, the narrative that's been reported about Sunday morning's events are inaccurate. She will claim that she was a victim, that she suffered a gunshot wound, and that they pulled bullets from out of her legs. She says, I was never arrested. The police officers drove me to the hospital where I underwent surgery to remove the bullets. Bullets? There was no bullets found in Megan Thee Stallion's leg. And the reason why Megan Thee Stallion was worried about being arrested, because if you look at the pictures they took at the police station of Kelsey's legs had nothing but cuts and scratches on it. Megan Thee Stallion did a number on Kelsey.
So that goes to what I just said. The reason why she was flustered and asking, are we going to go to jail? I don't want to go to jail. I can't have this on my image is because she put the paws on her friend, and her friend probably went to the car and grabbed the gun like, yo, I cannot fight a stallion, but I know what could. I know how to tranquilize one. And, you know, she probably got the gun and Tory had to like wrestle her out of the gun. And, you know, that's probably how the gun went off. And I think that's what the eyewitness kind of said as well.
And she bragged about it in her song. Right? You could literally see in the song the lyrics says, who will snitch? I ain't never went to the police with no names. So this is a song called Shots Fired by Megan Thee Stallion. She raps. Who will snitch? I ain't never went to the police with no names. I thought a bitch that got her chain snatched caught a loss had something to say. Hey, you think it's out of the realm of possibility that Kelsey, after getting whooped on by a woman 4 to 5 inches taller than her with about 50 pounds on her, You think it's out of the realm of possibility that she picked up a gun to defend herself? I don't think so. And this storyline, my perspective, lines up with what the only eyewitness said. What I think happened, my theory, is Megan Thee Stallion and Kelsey got into a brutal fight. Tory Lanez tried to break it up. Kelsey grabbed a gun and fired shots at Megan Thee Stallion.
That's what I just said. Yeah, I agree. Flacco, we like this. I agree.
The shots missed. However, the bullet fragments ricocheted. And they ricocheted and got into her foot due to the open wound she already had from stepping on glass in the prior days. And then when they all got back in the vehicle, right? And when they all got back into the vehicle, I believe what took place was Megan Thee Stallion then hopped out the vehicle, stepped on glass further, re-aggravate the wound, made the wound look so much more crazy. The police said, what the heck is this?
You don't gotta assume. The footage clearly shows that she dropped the bottle and the bottle broke and she stepped on the broken bottle, the glass. And some shards probably went into her wound. And yes, it's clear as day. There's no form of, there's no need to assume. There's no need to speculate. We saw her actively step on the glass, which then caused the limp. So...
That's what happened.
Yeah.
That's the only story that makes sense, and the eyewitness account backs that up. Here is Sean Kelly, the only eyewitness of this case, telling the police that he seen Kelsey shoot Megan Thee Stallion or fire shots at Megan Thee Stallion. The shots missed.
Wait, no, it didn't. No?
They shot out of the car?
Well, the windows were open, that's why it sounded like either way. Yeah, I didn't
really they were on my side. The girl opened the door, there was two girls fighting, and then they shot. Okay. She got out of the car.
Doors of the Escalade open, and the girl come out and pull open the passenger door and started screaming and yelling at somebody in the car.
So the girl who came out of the passenger, you're talking about the front passenger?
No, the rear.
The rear passenger. So the girl comes out of the rear passenger and she goes through the front passenger?
Yes.
And she opens up the car door?
Yes.
And then what happens?
They're screaming and shouting at each other and they start fighting.
The two girls?
Yeah, I can see one feet coming out trying to kick her and the other one's fighting, and then the passenger gets out.
So the girl who does the punching and the kicking is the girl that comes out of the back passenger?
The front. Can we stop there? Because I don't want to. I'll tell you, and then I want to go. My son's on his own.
Yeah, I understand.
I don't want
and it's loud with the cars.
I don't really want to. So basically, the car stopped. The girl in the back got out, started screaming and shouting, ripped the door, pulled the door open, but pulled it so sort of viciously. That's why I presume the driver got out. She starts screaming. She starts hitting the girl. The girl then had to start her feet come out. She starts to kick the girl away. The passenger. They get out, they start fighting here, they start fighting. The driver comes around and tries to sort of break it up. It gets a bit more violent, and between them, the girl then climbs back into the front driver passenger seat.
Where's the shorter black guy?
He's in the back.
He's in the back of the car? Okay.
Then the gun...
She said the girl shoots it. Why wasn't this used in court? Or was this used in court?
So the driver's door's open.
You're seeing the girl shoot?
Can I help you? I think, is it this house?
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
So you see the girl doing the shooting?
I see what appears to be the girl standing here and shooting into the car. That's what it looked like to me. But it was dark and I'm above, so... But Then the guy gets out again from the back.
And you want to know what happened to the only eyewitness who identified the woman shooting at Megan Thee Stallion? That eyewitness came to court. And when he got to court, the prosecutors took him upstairs. Now, the eyewitness was the defense.
Okay, so that's
the defense witness.
Okay.
The defense was who called the eyewitness. The prosecutors didn't want to call the eyewitness. The defense called him. But when he got to court, Tory Lanez and his family watched the prosecutors take that eyewitness upstairs. And when he came back downstairs, he didn't speak to Tory Lanez, look nobody in their eyes.
Is that legal? Look, I might sound like a complete moron, but isn't that witness tampering in a way? How can the prosecutor take the eyewitness for the defense away? They shouldn't even have a moment of privacy without anybody being there to moderate it. Is that legal? Could be. Obviously, it happened in the court, so I guess, nobody saw a problem with that. Why didn't anybody say anything? That's really odd. I don't know. Maybe I'm just ignorant, but I don't know. That seems really weird.
Went to the stand and completely changed up his story.
So the prosecutor took the eyewitness away, and moments after, it completely changed the story. Okay, that's some corruption right there. That is crazy. That's some corruption. You cannot tell me otherwise. That is some corruption. Something had to happen.
When we sat outside, my wife and I, we saw this gentleman come in, and we sat down, and it was identified for us that, oh, this is Mr. Sean Kelly. He's sitting across from us on the other side of the hallway. And as we sat there, the prosecution came out, one of their detectives or investigators rather, and one of the prosecutors, they took this gentleman, they went upstairs, I believe it was to the 14th floor at that time. By the time this man came down, the witness they did not want to call, this man came down and his testimony became so embellished with other nonsense that
crazy work
that people who saw it just looked at it and said, this is crazy.
It's very interesting. It's a very strategic way of making a witness unreliable. If you tell the cops one thing on the night of the incident, then a year after, because I believe that's what happened, a year after, because I believe that's when the court hearing took place, a year after, you switch your story up, you add things that you didn't mention to the cops on the day. How do you all of a sudden remember events that happened a year prior compared to the night it happened? Seems a little bit fishy. That's all I'm saying.
Imagine telling the police seconds, minutes after the incident.
That's literally what I just said. He's about to say what I just said.
Everything you just saw fresh on your mind. And then a year and a half later, you go to tell that same story you told the police, and the prosecutors walk you upstairs, walk you back downstairs, and your entire testimony changed. Now, all of a sudden, you seen Tory Lanez shooting. This, to me, is the corruptness that went on. Also, by the way, the owner of the gun, the prosecutor sealed that information. The owner of the gun, the name of the owner, got sealed. Nobody knows. All right. Tory Lanez DNA was not found on.
It would be very easy to put that gun on Tory if he was the owner. That just tells me he was not the owner of the gun. If you don't want to seal, if you're sealing who the owner is, it would have made your case that much easier if it was Tory's gun, because you could connect him to the gun and say that was his gun. He owns it.
On the gun, it was actually nobody knows. All right, Tory Lanez DNA was not found on the gun. It was actually 0.01% of his DNA found. But what that means is that's damn near like a billion black people, right, share like 0.01% of DNA. So his DNA was now found on a gun. The eyewitness is saying Kelsey shot Meg. Megan Thee Stallion is admitting, hey, listen, man, I stepped on glass the other day. I already had an open wound. The gunshots probably got fired at her by Kelsey. She probably stepped on bullet fragments that went into her foot, bruh. And also, by the way, the bullet fragments that got pulled out of her foot, those bullet fragments mysteriously went missing. They can't be found. They lost the evidence. And Tory Lanez still got convicted in court. To me, this is the example of being railroaded. But let me know what you think. I really want to know.
I'll let you know what I think. First of all, I think you did a very good job breaking down this video and the case. But yeah, man, it's crazy. That just kind of shows... Hold on, let me get bigger. That just kind of shows like the level of influence that certain conglomerates have. That just shows a level of like corruption that like the system has. That's crazy. First of all, this case is pretty open and shut, but I do believe some of the evidence we just saw were not permissible in court. I might be off on that, but I think that's what I heard. So that is why the jurors didn't have... That's why the jurors just went off of Megan Thee Stallion's statement, you know, presenting her as a woman that got shot, domestic violence and stuff like that. I don't believe they had the full scope of the evidence, because if they did and they put everything together from her coming out of the car and the bottle falling and cracking on the ground, her stepping on it and having a limp, from that to her telling the cops that she stepped on glass, which can then be proven on the body cam, to her going to the hospital and telling them she stepped on glass and everything. I think if you can piece all that together, and the eyewitness from the body cam footage of the cops talking to the eyewitness, you piece all that together, it's pretty clear Tory Lanez is innocent. Dastardly. Devious. This is crazy. But let me know what you guys thought about the video. Like and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next one. Full video will be in the link in the description if you want to watch it without interruptions. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. God bless.